also you look down towards bottom side. There's a CS lead and a gank coming through. Patrick dies here. It could be 99, end of the line, and the quiver comes out. Ice with one, and meanwhile in the mid lane,
Patrick and Ignite have an ability to push. They flash in.
Flash Shattering Strike, as you said, Laure out with the 6, and he's not there. Flush away from Ice, he has nothing to stop him. It's a Sonic Wave hit from downtown.
We've got a big wave happening right now.
Hey, let's go. Hey, it feels like home. hey. This is great.
And welcome back to the Riot Games Arena here in Berlin ahead of our second game of the day. But before we get there, I want to catch up with the man in the top lane from Vedius, Adam. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Félicitations pour la victoire.
Merci.
Grabbing the first one of the season after what happened yesterday. I know that it's always hard to get ready on the first day, make sure that everything is on point and everything, but the early game went well yesterday against G2. What went wrong and what did you adjust today in the game?
Well, basically, like we've always been like a kind of early game, team in BDS, and then we tend to work on the macro by scaling for the entire year. And obviously, we had like a pretty good early game, I would say. But then it's mainly because we didn't get used to like each other on stage with the add-on of Ice, right? And we had kind of a lot of misunderstanding in games. We were taking some random fights without everyone being kind of on the same page. So we could actually fix this mistake pretty easily and try to work on it pretty fast, which is why I think today we did a better job at this. So, but of course we'll keep on working because it's not that easy to play with the Korean. You need to integrate him to the team, and we need to be on the same page.
Tell me a bit about Ice, but before we get there, you know what? I wanted to talk to you about this play because I had flashback from Worlds watching this. For those who didn't follow, Adam playing the gods during this entire run and playing Garen again this year. Is it a meta champion, do you think, given the changes? Or can you just play these champions all the time? Throughout any circumstances.
I mean, to be fair, I've played this champ like a few times in scrims. I mean, with the Strikebreaker changes, it's kind of a new, different gameplay. But I still think there's like some angles where you can pick him, right? Anyways, it's still one of my best champs. So if I can see good angle, I will always pick. Even though this year I still wanted, to focus on pure rising bet, mostly better team champ. But, if there's a Garen angle, I might go for it.
I know you're always going to go for it, but I'm just wondering when are going to players get used to the fact that you're never going to shy away from playing these champions and that you actually can pilot them really well. What earned you player of the game today, the Kia player of the game, actually? So tell me, what helps you to stay on top of your game, even though I feel like people should be used to the fact that you can just play these champions whenever?
Well, naturally, I think in Europe, in competitive at least, I think I'm the only guy who plays Garen right now. And naturally, not everyone knows how to play with Garen or still against Garen. So I think just teams need to understand better what I'm capable of and what my champion pool can do in general. And hopefully I can still play other champions, right? If they just give me free Garen angle like this, maybe,
I want to see the 2024 version of Adam, but later, maybe. And I had a question about your bot lane. We'll see that later in the next interview. I will not forget about this. That's all for us here now. Adam, thank you so much for the interview. Congrats on the first victory you grabbed. And now as we prepare for the second match of the day, let's check out the Mad Lions Scores roster announcement. Spoiler alert! Wait for the end.
Cosas que mi gente quiere son las cosas que siempre he querido. Una copita para brindar y otras dos para los dos que vienen contigo. Los que no me subían a internet vacilando de amigos. Ahora que nos ponen la alfombrita roja vienen conmigo. Me maten si no pueden entrar. Me muera no les puedo fallar. Yo sin esta gente, ¿pa' qué cojones quiero pasar? Me maten si no pueden entrar. Me muera no les puedo fallar. Yo sin esta gente, ¿pa' qué cojones quiero pasar? Agua, vámonos, vámonos.
Caballero, ¿unas copitas de vino?
Que la gloria es el dinero. Pero nos equivocamos. Nuestra gente lo primero.
Oye, un momento, espera. Pero este tío no es español, ¿no?
¿Cómo? You are not Spanish?
Bye, lol.
Soy Bartolomeo. Viva España.
Wonderful announcement video, as we have seen many of our teams, but this one was extra Spanish for you. If you missed it yesterday, we of course made everyone who wanted to cover the Mad Lions Koi do a little bit of a Spanish test, but we can't keep it going because everyone was actually quite bad. But that's fine. Yeah, maybe Trymbi would have aced it, but he wasn't here. But let's talk. You wouldn't? Okay. But let's talk about the Mad Lions Koi and about SK. That's the matchup we have here today. And these were two teams that weren't rated very highly in general coming into the season. So I just wanted to pull up your tier lists. I think we have yours, Dagda, and maybe
That's fine.
Trymbi.
We can check the other ones first if you want. You know, that's
I'm
fine.
not sure which one's first, but in general, I think that does kind of encapsulate how, especially for Mad Lions Koi, Trymbi, it's hard to place them higher because it's so hard to predict how they would perform.
Yeah, exactly. Even though you have all of the games pretty much from from EU Masters or previously from Superliga, it's not like you can predict how they're gonna actually play on the LEC stage, right? It's a bit different, and even though, right, you can see it like in most of those playlists, they are put most likely last. It's because of all of the uncertainty there is, you know, behind them.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just kind of how
It's
it is.
just the way it is. But I saw yours also earlier, if we can pull it up, and you hoodwinked us because I think it's gonna come up in a second because you didn't put anyone in D tier because you didn't want to get flamed.
No. Because I actually personally thought that there was no team that I could just put D. Like, that was my feeling from all of the like pretty much rosters that came up. I felt like all of those rosters can work, and I didn't feel like there is a roster you just feel like it will not work at all. That was like kind of my feeling. That's why I felt like, you know, I have to put it on C.
Well, you're still pretty new as an analyst. You're still nice. You'll join the dark side eventually, just like I have apparently.
Yeah, put everyone. There you go. You actually even put Mad Lions and SK in D tier.
No. I mean, I don't know what happens to me. I put him in D. I called Elyoya bad, and then he plays like a
And he
literal
plays like a god. That's what you did.
It is what it is. You can't win them all.
No, but all jokes aside, of course, we want to illustrate how expectations can be built, but it doesn't always go alongside expectations, especially not for Mad Lions Koi. Yesterday, Dagda, Elyoya was leading the troops and had a phenomenal victory over Team Heretics, shutting everyone up.
Yeah, I think it was an absolutely insane game from him. The fact that he ended up getting the Zins out early, was going into the buy, was like, look, if you can offer me a 1v1 in the enemy jungle, I'm going to win it. So they immediately got push on bot, said, let's go immediately invade and try and set up for some sort of play. And Heretics tried to respond, but it just gave that early first blood across to them, and they end up popping off from it.
One thing that I want to actually see is what happens when they don't have that good of a champions, because let's be honest as well, they had so many good champions in that game, right? All of the champions that they had, right, they're kind of a meta. They're also meta champs that were last year too, I would say. So that also feels like it was a really big strength for them, and that's something that I want to see when there's gonna be a bit of a different meta, and then we see how it goes.
We could indeed. Noah also tweeted, who's of course a caster over in the Spanish region and has also joined us before, but she was saying, and I don't know if it was towards us or towards Team Heretics, the fact that how are people even surprised that this was what they decided to field for Mad Lions Koi, because this is how the Movistar writers love to play.
Yeah, and we talked about it on the cast, myself and Draco, saying like, if you watched any of the games, this is exactly what you were going to expect. They played towards Supa and Alvaro, they got these early pressures, and then they'd immediately look for skirmishes, immediately look for invades, and now look, the dial was definitely turned up to 11 with this game, but you could still see that this is definitely the style that they want to try and go into. And when you've got a guy like Mrywn on the top side who's able to play pretty much anything and kind of play that, I will be fine, do your own thing, I think it works out perfectly. And as the guys were already alluding to, I think the fact you got like AD LeBlanc for pushing mid, you had the range support to try and push in bot, it just sets up perfectly. So do we get a repeat performance today is the big question, or do we get to see something a bit different?
It's so interesting. We got to talk to Elyoya yesterday on PGL. Another thing he said, by the way, is that he thinks that their bot lane is the best bot lane in EU. We can talk about that later, but I also asked about this matchup versus SK Broxah, because SK also managed to win their first game, but Nisqy is in the mid lane over there now. And I asked Elyoya, is it going to be extra personal? He said, we have something personal against every team, starting with SK.
I think it is interesting because obviously Nisqy and Elyoya played together in the past, and now both of them are in big-time leadership roles, and both of them also were able to really set the tone for how their team played. I feel like Nisqy in particular had amazing synergy with Isma, who's a very aggressive jungler, and that showed big time. But again, like Trymbi said, what's gonna happen to these teams when they cannot play the likes of Sinsao, when they don't have an upper edge in draft? Because again, a champion like Sinsao is just unstoppable right now, and not everyone can have it.
It's true. We do have some voice comms also that we can listen to of the cooperation that's existing between Nisqy and Isma. Let's listen.
Okay, Isma.
Yes. I'm not a decent bait, I think, guys.
I think okay. I think looking is dead. Okay, on my screen is dead.
Okay.
Right
I'm
now.
here as well.
We have Dagda. I will flash on him. Okay.
Yeah. Wait,
just be in the bush, and I will ult him here. Okay.
Yeah.
If he goes for this minion.
Yeah.
Watch now.
Yeah.
Okay, this one.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, I'm not going. If he does, I'm going. I'm going.
Great, nice. That's good.
There you go, Trymbi, listening to that, it's quite clear. Nisqy, that leadership role, and immediately taking Isma under his wing.
I mean, it felt I would say, you know, if I was Isma, I knew exactly what I have to do, right? And that's something that it's really comforting, especially in first games of your career in LEC. I think it just like sets you up so well, and yeah, it just showcases how big of a leadership Nisqy has, right? And how he feels that he has to do this stuff, you know, at first, so he actually makes his teammates like feel good in the game.
And I think coming into today, both these guys are going to have a lot to prove, just because, well, you got Nisqy going up against Elyoya, right? Obviously, the rivalry there from the old team, but also when you look at Isma, he's going up against his old roster and Movistar Riders as well. So he was the like one French representative on that Spanish lineup, and he's kind of cheered against Carmen Corp at the EMEA Master Finals. Now we get to see him going on towards a team where he's making a name for himself alongside another Frenchman in the mid lane. So I'm very excited to see how these two are going to show up here today and what they want to take onto the Rift against two teams they're very familiar with.
Yes, we're going to be covering the picks and bans here on the desk, and it's quite interesting indeed that we have, you know, Nisqy and Elyoya now on other side of the Rift, both taking on a new role in their career, as you know that the fans are here to cheer as loud as they were yesterday. It's hard, you know, between the fan bases. I think Mad Lions Koi is also super loud, but we'll see what they decide to draft today.
So far, in terms of bans, if we look at the top side, the priors have been the likes of Rumble, Jax, probably Nocturne. There's been some LeBlanc bans. AD carry or bot lane, we have Ashe, we have Caitlyn, Kalista, and we'll see what these teams do, because generally there's no locked bans. Everybody has different approaches, and it really comes down to where blue side begins, I feel like, how they set the tone and draft, because red is usually going to be adaptive.
Yeah, I think a huge portion of it for me is like things like Rumble probably going to be gone. Like we've seen inklings of AP Udyr and stuff coming in the LPL to try and counter it, but haven't really seen it come across to Europe just yet. But I think getting rid of that, the Ashe, and I think honestly with how well Fresskiowy played on the AD LeBlanc, I think giving it or leaving that open for him would just be so disrespectful after what you saw yesterday.
Yeah, and as we see first bans, of course, Jax ban quite fast, but in the other hand, there's Irrelevant in the enemy team, really good Jax player, completely understandable. Rumble from Red, pretty understandable too. There's Nocturne, also extreme nightmare right now with a new item, so... Oh, and here we have the LeBlanc, right? So everything seems pretty standard. One thing though is, there's not many... Oh, and there's Maokai, so there's a lot of AD carries open, and some of them can go to support, so I think there will be a lot around bot lane in this draft.
So if you were on blue side right now and you see there's not a single bot lane ban, what would you be looking for?
Oh, I think it depends on what you feel the most comfortable with, because I don't think there's a straight up best champion, but if Ashe and Varus are open, I think you might want to look... Okay, Ashe is banned. So now there's a question if you want to go Kalista. Maybe you wanna... Okay, you just go Zinza. Okay, that champion does look broken, and you take it away from Isma. That makes sense.
It does lead the question now, is it a case of, hey, we want to try and go for a very similar style that we saw yesterday. Look, we have the strong jungler. Let's try and get a counter pick in the bottom side, see if we can get push there, and then we can go for for what basically set us up for success. Yesterday's Mad Lions Koi, which was push bot, early levels, and then get control. We can lead that into the jungle, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look, we won't see what it is at the moment, but I think that'll be the big plan here to go through a Mad Lions.
I feel like it might be even like Poppy or Renata. But on the other hand, I feel like right now maybe there's an angle when they just go Aphel. Oh, there's a Renata, right? So maybe it's gonna be an actual Aphelios angle with a counter pick as an enchanter. Okay, we just go for Lucian. EU Lucian doesn't look as good sometimes, but I think it's a good champion. And in a pair with Milio, it gives a great setup and pretty much scaling for the side of blue side.
And this is actually the combo that I prefer. I think Nami, yes, you've got that engage tool, well, engage, disengage, whatever way you want to use with the wave. I think Milio just makes you a very easy to, I want to go now. I'm going to shield you, I'm going to put down the cozy campfire. You get the extra range and just helps Lucian significantly more in team fights where he can be more of a threat. And even as you see, like Renata, great answer, the Milio, because you can get rid of that hostile takeover. Even if you end up with some of the CC that can come through from like Renata, or sorry, from a rel Q, you've got that answer as well. So I think this is a great start for Mad Lions Koi, especially if they want to try and go for this aggressive bottom side.
So from what we've seen so far, on paper, Kalista Renata definitely would be the stronger bot lane duo. But Trymbi, would you feel comfortable playing Lucian Milio into it? Do you think they can shut it down and have more impact?
I think it just depends how well you play first levels, especially level 1 and 2. I personally, when it comes to like Milio Renata side, Renata is the one that has to be like aggressive, right? But it's not like Milio cannot answer it back. It's just about how you play around her Q, right? Because if you actually get hooked, there is a high chance you're gonna die or make an enemy actually give an option to dive. Because as you can see, there's also as well rel coming in that most likely is gonna be a jungler, right? Like looking at it. Unless you're Wunder. I saw Wunder playing it top, so I don't know how it goes nowadays. But yeah, that's gonna be probably the look where they're gonna try to look for dives. And when it comes to bans as well, as we can see, like they're not gonna have many chances they played yesterday, Mad Lions Koi, because a lot of them actually get banned too in the second phase.
Yeah, I'm now curious to see what we're going to take into the jungle here for Isma, because it feels like that's going to be the next rotation. Or sorry, not the jungle, sorry. You're going to have to flip it between top and mid, actually, with Rel picked up. So I think it's going to be, well, we won't know whether it's going to be...
Maybe a little Cassandra does a little top lane bans.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what irrelevant, for me, looked really strong and stuff like the sign of that. So it is actually going to be Kali, but I think it is kind of a case of like leave irrelevant to that counter pick, because I think he's looked far more comfortable where he's able to go, hey, I can dominate the 1v1, and there is a lot of those just good mid laners open.
Oh, Poppy here is really good, to be fair. I'm actually shocked it went through the draft. Like Poppy is so good into Kalista, it's so good into Rel, and it's really good into Akali. And I can... Okay, there's a Gragas by Fresskiowy versus Nisqy. That's actually really spicy and interesting. I'm curious if it's just like a kind of a takeaway, or...
I mean, you were actually talking about backstage Trymbi for a Cabo Shard, how well he was at like controlling the Akali yesterday, although it was like top versus mid. I think it's going to be a very similar story here of, look, I'm going to try and get push and just interrupt things.
Yeah, I like it. And on top of things, Mrywn has a really good Poppy when it comes to like itemization. So that's something that I want to look at and see if there's going to be something spicy in there.
I think it was also smart by SK to 4-pick mid instead of top lane, because Mrywn is known for having a lot of spicy counter picks, something we talked a lot about yesterday. This way, you make sure that he's going to blind, get a stable top matchup that you're happy with for Irrelevant. And obviously, Poppy, so far, well, I don't even think we've gotten to see it. It's been permabanned.
Yeah.
But Renekton, traditionally, very good into it, and Irrelevant is going to be able to shut it down if he plays the early laning phase wall.
Cool. What's the most interesting lane you have your eyes on? Mid?
Oh, I would say there's gonna be a lot happening bot lane. I think mid, it depends how the laners play, to be fair, but yeah, bot lane is the one that I think SK has to do quite a bit in order to make sure that things go well, because if they don't try to do anything, Lucian Milio, I would say they take over in this game with the help of Poppy, with the help of Zinzao. I'm not sure how you get on that Lucian without, you know, like having to go through all of those front lines over there.
Yeah, also Ardent Abuser, so great. I think this is going to be wonderful, which I think it's going to be great. I mean, pop it onto the Lucian, it's a bit silly, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing bot lane, but also as you say, mid lane, I think it's going to be really curious to see how you can try and get control there as Fresskiowy, and then see if we get a similar style of, well, we got the Zinzao, is that the combo once more.
Okay, let's see what happens. I'm already missing Hysterics' voice, so let's head over to our caster.
This is so kind. Thank you very much, and welcome to our second game of the day or night. I used to watch this at 2 a.m. in the morning, so for me, I'm all out of whack. But Mad Koi picking up their big win yesterday against Team Heretics when they were definitely not favoured. A huge statement to come into Winter. SK, you can say the same deal, especially when Isma was making his debut. There's a big matchup. I know there's a lot on the line. Vedius has told me a stat that has come from the family here at the LEC, that Mrywn is apparently 9-0 on Poppy in his career, which is nuts as we get a pause, so we get time to talk about it.
I really like the Poppy pick. The Analyst desk already talked extensively about it. I was surprised that it made it through the ban phase.
Me too.
I thought that we would see the Gwen plus the Poppy, but especially when you have Rel, Akali, Renata. Sorry, Kalista. Rel, Akali, and
that's it.
Kalista.
Yeah.
It's I don't know why my brain went somewhere completely different then.
It's okay, I'll be there, mate.
But I think that it's really interesting how Mad seem to have this constant flexibility in draft, right? It was one of the big talking points for Mrywn coming into this matchup, just because it's his incredibly deep champion pool is supposed to offer a lot, and so far we haven't seen anything too crazy, but he seems to be able to pick and choose whatever is needed, depending on what the team is looking for.
Yeah, a lot of people have been feared as well, but ladies and gentlemen, we've just been told there is an audio issue on stage. League officials are investigating. We'll update you as we find out more. So while that gets sorted, you get to chill out with another pause. It's okay. We live in the pauses. It's fine. I don't know.
Sure, this will be resolved very. It's just a hardware issue, so it shouldn't take too long.
Sure,
he says optimistically.
Good one, Benny. I mean, I feel I didn't jinx it last time. I think I kind of encouraged it. So you might be all right. I will say, at the very least, as we get into this, you were telling me like you're so excited for this one because you're talking about this being a bit of a grudge match, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me it is because like there was.
That's good enough.
All right, last year at MSI.
Yeah.
There was the debacle.
Okay.
There was the French community and the Spanish community going after each other.
And it was a debacle, was it? Whatever that is.
Because of the reactions of the players post the T1 loss.
Right. Yeah,
and
okay.
One player was smiling and another one wasn't. And,
and
there was a big debate. Okay, there was a big debate from the fans, not from the players. The players were like super.
That created the debacle, right?
And that created the debacle among them.
What is a debacle? Debacle?
A debacle is like, I mean.
Do you mean debacle?
Debacle. Yeah, but it's pronounced debacle.
I don't think it is.
I think it is. Anyway,
I just don't think it is.
Anyway, it created a conflict between the fans.
There we go.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I mean, when we come into this year, right? Nisqy's no longer a part of Mad Lions, right? That former Mad Lions roster was not as... it clearly didn't work. They were able to find some success in Spring Split, and a lot of people were optimistic, but then MSI did happen, they returned, they were not able to find a huge amount of success, even though they did end up qualifying for the World Championship. They didn't have a great run, to say the very least. So something needed to change in the Mad Lions roster, and everything did. It was Elyoya and the boys. An entire roster was built around Elyoya. Everyone else was kicked from the roster, and they picked up a lot of young players, formerly from Movistar Riders, and that meant that Nisqy had to find a new home. And typically, Nisqy is a player that sits among one of the top teams in the league. You know, he was formerly on Splice. He found himself on Mad. He's found himself on Fnatic. Like, he's a player. I mean, over in North America, he played on C9. He's a player that's used to being on these very competitive rosters that sit near the top. So to find him on SK was definitely a surprise. But it's a roster where I think a lot of the responsibility falls on him to be that kind of leader. And we heard it in the comms earlier how he was already taking on that leadership role within the game. And so I'm really fascinated because now with two of these key players in Elyoya and Nisqy now competing against each other in very new environments, it's hard not to believe that both of them want to prove what they can do in these different environments.
And isn't it funny as well, like Nisqy is the leader in this team, the way you look at it with SK. You look at Mad Lions Koi and you're like, well, Elyoya, of course, is the leader as well. Both of them are taking leadership positions where Elyoya on day one, yesterday put on a bit of a clinic. I mean, we came in, Team Heretics was in my top 4. I don't know where you put them, but they were definitely high up when you see that, you know, G3.0 coming in. More like G1.5 on day one, but they've got another day to prove. They've got many days to prove it. But more importantly, you know, Mad came in with lower expectations. And I think, you know, we look back and I've definitely been discussing with Dagda as well and some of you guys and some of the highlight talent that's come through from secondary division. Supa is a great example as well. When people look at secondary division, they talk a lot about Kalist, but they forget about this guy who's also come through the Spanish leagues too. it's exciting to see now getting their chance on LEC. They performed yesterday, or rather he did. And there's a lot to be expected here today after both these teams are sitting 1-0.
Yep.
But both these teams as well came in with really strong starts, defining starts as well. SK on the other side versus Rogue. I'd say the exact same thing. Rogue had high expectations, or
and
at
I
least
think the way that they played those games was largely through their mid jungle. In the SK game, we saw a huge involvement from Dawson.
Yeah.
Bard. I think that this mid jungle is going to be super important. I know that the Analyst test talked a lot about action around the bot side of the map, but how involved and how much pressure is put on these two mid laners, especially when we saw Fresskiowy and Elyoya doing so much work in putting perks behind.
Just a bit of an update for you. Player has requested changes to their audio settings, so we are just waiting to resolve that. And then we can update you with more when we have it as well. Apologise for the delays, but again, when you have a nice matchup here, one that, when I was looking at, opening cast, Vedi, like coming into today, I'm like, okay, Mad versus SK maybe for a lot of people won't have as high a priority. But again, when both these teams have started strong, when they've beaten those expectations individually in their matchups of day one, I think it puts new hype on the matchup itself. And it means one of them ends 2-0 to end off today.
I mean, for Mad Lions Koi, it's an opportunity to rebrand yourselves, both literally and figuratively, right? Domestically, Mad Lions has been a team that has been able to contest the top spots. They have been a European representative internationally for many years now, but people's expectations on them are very, very low, right? But now they have brand new coaching staff, brand new players. A lot of these players obviously coming from the ERLs as well. They do have a fresh start, and so people's expectations can completely shift. And already in their debut, they showed a completely different play style to what we're used to, right? Whereas for SK, this was a roster that was full of potential. It was always talked about how they could grow into something significant. And in winter of last year, they even secured top 4. Everyone was really excited about the potential. Exakick in particular was really popping off. And then gradually throughout the year, that hype just kind of slowly dissipated. The team didn't really evolve anymore from where they were. And we saw them in positions where they were so commanding and leading, and then they couldn't actually close out games. Like, there was an incredible performance from Irrelevant against G2, where his Gwen was absolutely decimating. Absolutely decimating. And then they still ended up losing that game. And it was just the curse of SK where they, even though they did make the season finals, they couldn't quite live up to that potential. So perhaps they can do that now with the addition of Nisqy and Isma. And that's why I think it's very much a fresh start for both these teams. And getting a win today, put them at 2-0, put them in a great position.
I mean, again, look, it's just the fans going nuts in the meantime as well. Now, the SK fans, are they getting drowned out? The answer might surprise you. It's good to see the support. Like, how rowdy have the fans been? But it's awesome to see,
The energy is definitely electric.
Yeah, it's great.
They're here to show their support for Mad Koi.
Can I just ask, who let him in with the drum? Like yesterday, I'm like, man.
I mean, it adds to the ambiance.
It does, but it's, through security check, what's this? It's just a drum. It's just a drum, mate. Look, ladies and gentlemen, there is a bit of a delay, but while we wait to get ready on stage, we can check out SK's roster announcement going into this 2024 season.
So, are you guys joining? Are you joining?
But it's just a board game.
Not in my tavern, you rats! That's more like it.
Place our bets. Who gets it all tonight? A 2 versus 2 it is.
In the land of dragons and giants wars, there are warriors who brave the storm. Picking up their weapons and magic spells, they march into He wandered around, lonesome. After many battles fought, a legend, a whisper.
Who goes there?
Ah, Nisqy, I've heard this name before. The legend of Summoner's Rift.
Good to see you around these lands, Nisqy. It's on the house.
League of Legends? I've played it before.
Try your odds then.
So, new fellowships are built. The foretold contestants are set. May their quests begin.
Just a board game, huh?
Yep, good game. Another drink.
Make it yourself.
Videos were fire. I mean, from multiple organisations, I might add as well, but SK's there behind me as we welcome you back. We're still waiting on a technical delay, and we're going to update you as we go through. So don't worry, chill with us for a little bit. It's nice in here. We're in a new arena.
Time for the Hysterics and Vedius interim podcast.
True.
We'll get you through the technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So
Top
what have you done
topics.
since you've been in Berlin?
Well, I've been bouldering.
Oh.
I got invited into that
They
club.
got you into that cult,
Yeah.
Because that's what it is, okay? Dracos started luring one or two people into a little
Some of them
climbing-
have tattoos of it as well.
It's true, they do.
And one of the person who has a tattoo doesn't even go to it as well. he knows who I'm talking about. He's not even part of it. I've been twice since being here, and I've been here like a week.
It's a dangerous group to join.
It is, but it's good.
That's what they make you believe.
It's good. There's
All
7
you're
levels.
doing, you could climb real mountains outdoors.
Yeah, and die if I fall down. At least with bouldering, I fall into a mat.
I mean, not that I, it's the problem is ever since I watched that, the video, the free climb guy,
yeah.
he climbed that
I'm not doing that.
crazy long mountain.
Yeah.
It's bouldering can never do it for me.
No, well, look, I mean, you weren't invited anyway. So. No, you should
That's
go.
hurtful.
Have you actually gone or
no,
not?
No, Dracos has invited me multiple times.
And you haven't gone?
Gang, yes.
All right, well, look, we'll talk about that later. Dracos will help me get you there.
What happens, it starts with bouldering.
Yep.
Then it's Magic of the Gathering, okay?
So?
And because they're trying to just get you to invest in all these things that you don't need to invest in.
Yeah, but there's fun, though.
Have you spent money on a card game before?
Only Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, same,
Yeah,
right?
but that was worth it. Actually, no, also
It
Pokemon.
wasn't worth it.
It
No, it
was
wasn't.
worth it. It was worth it when you...
I have so many Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon cards that when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I'll keep all them and I'll sell them when I'm
Well,
older.
that
But you won't
stonks.
sell them. You'll never sell them.
When I'm 50 or 60, maybe I will.
Your
but
nostalgia
look,
will prevent it.
more importantly, I do believe we have Sjokz in the audience who's going to chat to more important people than us. Yes.
We have a new Riot Games arena, so we have a lot going on here as well for in between the games, which is fun. I'm going to look for some people to talk to. Hello, would you like to do an interview? Did you do the quiz as well?
Which quiz?
Like yesterday as well, or not?
Oh, yes, I did.
With Medic?
Yeah, with Medic. Yes, I did. I lost everything.
You did even have some funny answers, I think.
I have a lot of fun, yes.
Are you funny? Are you funny in general?
I hope so.
I think so too. What's your name again?
Valerio.
Okay, and I see that you have a G2 jersey on. Now, after this next game, we'll have the match of the week versus KC. What do you think?
We're gonna smash them. Yeah, easy. Okay. We're gonna smash the wall.
Bot lane?
Bot lane, mid lane, everything.
Why do you have so much faith in G2? Because usually when you have a lot of faith is when they, don't do that well.
But locally, we have always winning everything. It's internationally that we struggle the most. Yeah. So we're gonna win LEC.
I mean, you said it. I mean, you are the favorites for sure. Do you like this area, by the way, where you can just chill?
It's a very nice place. A lot of seats, maybe. Yeah. Good venue.
A lot of seats? Did you want to give a hint?
Maybe less than expected, but yeah.
Cut this interview right now. No, I'm kidding. Hey, we're looking forward to that match of the week. I'm going to keep walking around and seeing what's going on here. I don't know how long the cable is for the camera, but who knows? Anyways, we have the Wall of Champions as well. As Valeri said, maybe G2 will win another championship. We'll see it over there. This is the cup. If you've never seen it up close, I'm sure you have. They also have engravings of everyone that has one, which is really, really dope. Of course, Munich at the end of the year as well. So we're looking forward to that. There was someone I was talking to before. Hello? I'm sorry, you're just having a beer. I apologize.
I'm not having anything. No, I'm not. Howdy, how you doing?
And the stare in the camera. Do you have experience working in front of the camera?
I'm a Portuguese caster, so yeah. Me and my buddy TB, he is right over there. We started at the same time.
Go over here.
Yeah. He's my dynamic duo guy.
Yeah, but I can see it. You have so much charisma.
Hi, how you doing? What is this?
Co-streamers Portuguese.
Oh yeah,
co-casters.
Bet on us, please. Yeah, we would love to co-stream the LEC.
My caller caster to my PvP caster. Yeah, we're a thing.
I love it. This is so great to see because you send out a story being like, oh, I'll be on the other side in a few years.
I wish if I get to be on a desk with you in the LEC.
We have.
I don't know.
Together.
I know. Pinch me.
We start together.
You know what? Do you want to? I don't know if we can do it with the cameras, but we can go right there. We could just sit on the desk.
Oh, sit on.
Yeah, we can't cast.
But if you want to, we can go.
Do you let us go?
I mean, I think it's fine. I'm basically just doing what I want now. So come on, let's go. Let's go. If security tries to hold you.
Hey, I'm a big guy.
Actually, do you want to be my security guard?
Hey.
Okay. By the way, what's funny is there's windows here now. Yeah, you can just look at us at all times. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Sure, we're making TV. Come on. So, and this is the studio.
Yes, it is. Hi guys.
I heard you're taking our jobs.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, are you coming to say, here, you take the seats. You can take ours.
Yeah, we'll leave.
I kept them warm for you. There you go. Yeah.
And I could leave.
Here, you can take this. I have one.
Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, thanks.
Go ahead.
The thing is, from all the days that this could have happened, you chose the day that I'm dressed like a trash man or.
I like it.
Something.
You look great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're doing.
Is this one on?
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Can I grab it too?
You can, but listen, you're on a live broadcast now.
Hi, Dagda. Broxah.
Hello.
Behave.
Thank you for the seat.
Hey, since you are the casters for the Portuguese stream,
We are.
in general, you obviously know about the game, right?
A little bit. Now I'm questioning if I know about the game because there's a whole
He
book
took some
to read.
vacation.
He
took
did.
some vacation.
There's a
So
whole book
did
that I need to
I.
read.
It's fine.
Oh, wow.
But we do have SK going up
Okay.
against Mad Lion's Core.
All right.
So, what is your expert opinion on what's going to happen?
Oh wow. Wanna go ahead?
I can take this one.
Okay.
So.
So, I'm sorry, the teams are ready.
Oh,
So, we're going to hear later.
It's fine.
all right.
Go ahead. Do your thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, those guys, absolute legends. Massive shout out. Sjokz, you're a legend as well. That's the most fun segment I've watched. But welcome back. Yes, we are getting close to getting in game. If you're wondering what the delay was, we had an audio issue on stage. They've changed the hardware, and you can see us right now, but you're about to see the gameplay as I see it moving on my screen as well. So we are getting close. We're about to jump on in, and we've been waiting for this SK Mad.
I just love
little rivalry
Sjokz
for a while.
TV, man. It's
good TV, man.
Yeah, it's great TV. I had a great time. But yeah, hopefully we should be getting back into game soon, as Hysterics highlighted. We just need to refine some of the finer details that our players are experiencing. I want to make sure that all of our players are in a good mindset. They have all of the things that they need in order to perform at the optimal level. We do not want to have anything interrupt their ability to play League at the highest level. So, yeah, the reason why you're listening to us is because we're very close. It is, of course, SK versus Mad Koi. And so without further ado, let's jump straight back under the rift, shall we?
Hell yeah, Betty. They've waited long enough. It's time to get into this one. One apiece for both these teams. Mad and SK coming off huge wins in day one of Winter. It is a single round robin. Every win counts. I know you're sick of all that story stuff, but it really is true when you have teams like this who I am guilty of putting in my C tier videos. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the fans. I didn't know any better, did I? But now I'm learning the truth.
I feel like you, of all people, should be wary of day one predictions.
Should
okay?
I?
Because I've seen the LPL, okay?
Yep.
I've seen teams that have started strong.
And I put Weibo as #1. And where did they end up last year? In spring last year of LPL, I went in. I
found another
week one, day one, I said, that is the Shy, baby. And I said they're #1. You can't get rid of him. He made it all the way to the finals. And they almost won. Outside of the 3 games they lost, they almost won. But look, more important things here, of course. We've got to start up that year before getting towards the end. Yeah, there is another one indeed. Of course there is. The best player that ever existed outside of EU.
I think I can hear Cadril from here.
Oh, really?
His
Wow.
enthusiasm for you. It's crazy.
It's incredible.
Now, Elyoya will be spotted out on this deep vision invested by SK. Already has secured that level 2. Isma with some creative pathing there to get himself that level 2, starting on the Krogs on the bot side. He is sitting on a ward himself. And Elyoya, I think he's just primarily thinking, do I try to cover or do I just leave him be for now? He's going to leave him be as Isma chooses to disengage. Exakick gets the level 2.
Great trade.
He's going to force the heal. Nicely done there. So already a lot of pressure being put. We kind of look at the mini-map, and we can already see push coming across from SK in the top side of the map, in the mid lane, and also on the bot side. So having these pushing lanes very early gives you a lot of agency, and it gives your jungle a lot of freedom. And again, yesterday, we saw Isma and Nisqy working incredibly well together. We got to hear the comms from the Analyst desk about how Nisqy was providing a lot of guidance. Exakick losing a lot of HP.
Yeah.
But again, we're going to be keeping our eyes on what these junglers are up to. We now see Elyoya on the top side, and Isma making his way back towards bot.
Man, Exakick, as you said, the heavy trades might hurt out, but again, you've got coverage from Isma. That ward's still there, about to expire, so SK will get the information, but with a heavy push coming through, I think it's more about the wave thinning out as they have spotted out Isma moving between that fog of war, so they know. But look at where enemy jungler is, or Elyoya's on the other side of the map.
Stealing away the red buff. I don't think that... Oh, flash!
But does it execute? I mean, you only get one. Supa's free firing under turret. It's so messy. SK is... There's a bit more damage to come through, but Supa still getting hit hard. The Ignite burns it out. As for now, they survive. The dive thwarted. A couple of flashes burnt. And Supa only hurt at the end of it.
Well, ultimately, this will be an advantage for Mad Lions Koi just because Elyoya can now steal away the entire top side of Isma's camps. The fact is, Supa still has all of his summoner spells available, and Isma is trying to force this play.
It makes sense. Again, with Exakick, they kick him away, though. The route back on down. The crash down works, but Isma's a hit away. Supa finds him, but as the expiry comes through, Isma will still die, but it's the kill in the end from Exakick that pays out with that double down dive.
If Isma had been able to get a single hit onto Supa, he wouldn't have lost his life there, but it ends up being a 2-for-1. The massive investment from SK to try and get this bot lane ahead will prove fruitful as you see a 700 gold lead now in favor of Exakick.
And I thought in 14-1, when we're going into a new patch, we've got Void Grubs, I thought, oh, we're going to talk more about top side, more about mid. It is still about the bottom lane as we see Isma doubling down again.
Nice connect there on the handshake from DOS to bring Alvaro back underneath, or into range, I should say, of Exakick.
Yep.
And then when Supa sees an opportunity to land that extra auto to make sure that Isma goes down, they're able to make it work.
Just John.
Nice, happy face from Nisqy in the mid lane. We talked about it, that potential grudge match between Nisqy and Elyoya, both wanting to prove that they still got it, that they can be better than their former teammate.
And it's funny to see in this grudge match as well. I mean, getting something like the Akali, you know, yesterday we got the Azir. A lot of people talking out. It's like, well, it doesn't really feel like the Azir matchup for Nisqy.
What I will say is that, like, Nisqy has been a big team player for a really long time, right? And I think he had a fantastic Worlds individually. Like, I remember back their game versus NRG, he was the reason why they kept finding plays back into the game. I remember, like, the knockbacks he found in, like, the bot lane tier 2 dive that NRG was threatening, and he did so much work on his Talia, and I think that after that World Championship, we had an interview from him where he said, I proved to myself that I can compete. I just need to have more faith in my own abilities rather than constantly playing for the team. And I'd like to think that this Akali pick is him demonstrating that he can just pick a carry and say, you know what, I can lead the team and I can be that carry player. We'll see how much of an impact it can end up having. Again, that Poppy is scary. From Mrywn, he's going to be the big displacement. He's the guy that's going to run walls in the faces of SK when they have so many dashes.
And again, he's 9-0 on the pick. If you missed just before we went into that tech pause, 9-0 on this Poppy top, so expectations arise as ulti comes through from Nisqy, running into Fresskiowy, but pop back into the turret. He's out with the perfect execution, needs a little bit more, but a barrel roll zones him out. He holds onto his flash. Fresskiowy does the same with both ultis expended.
Really well played there from Fresskiowy, making sure that he interrupts the E connecting once again. Also throws him underneath the tower, not giving Nisqy the opportunity to reset his passive. And they both walk away limping, but no summoner spells burn.
At the very least, Nisqy putting his dominance forward. We already talked about it. Got a small CS lead in mid as well. And things going pretty well for SK overall here in this early game. About a 1k gold lead. And I'm looking towards that bottom side that picked up a double kill on a Kalista, which yet again we need to highlight. Even towards jungle, bit of a CS lead as for now. On the other side, Elyoya is going to be starting up the grubs while topside battles it out. But Irrelevant and Mrywn just facing off against each other for the time being. While there is a bit of movement up towards the top side, we'll have to see if it develops to anything, as the grubs might be gone by then. Yeah.
With Alvaro here to assist his jungler. You can see that it's going to be a difficult contest from SK. Dos and Isma are in the area. Oh, Irrelevant's found a window to roam down. Are they going to look for the fight?
Well, the bass drum has erupted in the crowd, so maybe it's setting up for the play as Elyoya is not level 6. He can't negate the damage, and Irrelevant is just taking him down by himself on this Renekton. Flash matched over the wall. Irrelevant does it again, but with the flashback Mrywn, that was clean. Makes it a 1-for-1 in the end, and you have to say, the guts from the top laner of SK looks good.
I don't think SK can threaten a dive here. So Mrywn going to be pretty happy. You're right, you were correct in how you said that he played that perfectly. Dashing and bringing him back underneath the tower and then popping up that steadfast, just in case the Renekton does have the dash. He's not getting out of there. So nice trade back from Mrywn. Nisqy taking a lot of damage from the minions here.
Ulti again.
The ult.
Well, Elyoya comes on in. Nisqy, oh, we're laughing on him. Perfect execution, thumbs up. He's feeling cheeky. He's laughing before. Pops out the Akali today.
I mean, his team's in a great position right now. They have a small gold lead.
Look at him.
He's feeling confident. He's looking in the face of his replacement, and he wants to go toe-to-toe. We'll look back at this play. Irrelevant knows he has a 2-level lead, and he just keeps on hitting onto Elyoya. Elyoya feels like he needs to hold on to his flash in case Isma chooses to engage. Once he realizes he's far enough away from Isma, he then chooses to flash, but the damage is already done. But then the response here from Mrywn, flash into the drag back underneath the tower, and then the steadfast presence to prevent the Renekton from getting away to safety. Very well played from him. Now Isma looking for a dive in mid. Fresskiowy though keeping the minion wave away from the tower and staving off the potential dive. Look at this, he's found a very nice freeze. I don't think that he'll be able to hold this for very long, but by denying the ability for the minions to take aggro, he's actually staved off the dive that I don't know if he has any information of happening.
Elyoya's going to help out for the time being. That means Isma's in a bad place. Crushed down over the wall, it seems. Waiting for it and use it in the end. Fresskiowy as well, remember that he's also got his ulti, he's got his flash available, and he's Gragas. Still going to be a hard task as we pan up to the top side. But Vedi, in this early game, let's just say, even with the trade back top side, that 1k gold lead has been maintained by SK. They've got a Mountain Dragon as well. Only thing it looks like Mad are going to be running away with are those 2 grubs. Not sure if they got a third one there.
No, they did. He managed to smite it. Yeah. So right now it's 3 in, as opposed to 0.
And can I just say, you know, calling them void grubs hurts me a bit because grub in Australia is someone who eats food off the ground.
Oh.
So
you guys don't have the 3-second rule over there?
Well, we don't talk to anyone about it. We do, but if someone sees you, then you're a grub, you know?
I see.
So, well, I'm not saying I do, you know, that's...
Grub is the word used for food in A Bug's Life, and that's why I always
Very
remember
true.
it. Yeah.
Beautiful butterfly, yeah. Great movie.
That's a great throwback.
That's like our generation. It's crazy, because New League of Legends generation probably haven't seen that movie.
Maybe. Nah, man.
How crazy is that?
I'm 31 now, okay? I don't like my mortality. Why would you? No chill, bro. No chill.
I'm 28. I'm 28.
Dragon spawning in about 1:15. I expect that to be the next major objective, but the second spawning of the Grubs are also on their way out. So we'll see what the priority becomes here, because I think if you're Mad Lions Koi, you wouldn't mind sacrificing the second Drake in order to secure those Grubs, giving you that extra sieging power. Another ult used from Nisqy. I don't think he's going to get it. Maybe? Hang on a minute.
Oh, actually buff it in. Nisqy's back in. Perfect execution at the ready, but uses it out. I mean, again, Nisqy playing with fire. This guy's crazy.
So he's actually going for the Haunting Guys, likely into the Riftmaker build. A lot of Akalis in solo queue have been prioritizing the Storm Surge. I'm curious as to whether or not he goes both Riftmaker and Storm Surge.
Okay.
But remember that the advantages of Riftmaker now is the Omnivamp is so powerful once you get those full stacks from the Riftmaker. And Akali is a champion that just loves to be in combat for an extended period of time, so she gains a lot of value from it as well. In the past, a lot of Akalis avoided the Riftmaker build because the build path was really horrible, but Haunting Guys gives you everything you need. So it's a much easier itemization to go for in the early game.
Does Fan of Knives count as AoE?
Yes.
So you get 100%
yeah, you do.
back from it. Yeah. Again, if people don't know, slightly hidden change. Thanks to Medic as well for bringing up.
Grubs.
Take us, Betty, because the Grubs, as you said, number 6 will be coming through. More important, before we see that Riftmaker in action, as you could agree. SK are moving up in River, taking full control themselves, so Grubs will be on hold.
In the River. Wait, they're still aggroed from up there?
Wait, where's the patience meter?
Where
no
is
way!
The patience meter?
You could go back to base and then follow you. What is happening? All right, at least SK have taken one away, but patience finally wearing down.
There we go.
And there we go, they run back. I'm not sure how that works.
But, I mean, this is the most important one, because if SK deny this from Mad, then they won't get their 5th one.
Very true.
Which means that it'll just be a 2-4. Obviously a small advantage for Mad, but you're denying that 5 that you need in order to get those extra mites to spawn and hit onto those towers.
Well, at the very least, 2 for themselves, and as you said, no mite's going to be coming up towards turrets, so for SK, able to deny that is great, especially when they hold the early game cards at this point as well.
While all that was happening though, Mrywn did get a bunch of tower plates in the bot lane.
Yep.
I think he's not taking any damage. We've only just started and still making fun of AD carries.
Yeah, still the same. All right, come on, Exakick. There's the flash, handshake. But can they do it with the Ignite down and the Rend?
Not quite.
So close. So that Poppy doesn't even have full item.
Mrywn didn't flash, by the way. That was flash, Ignite, burn from DOS, and now Elyoya might be able to punish.
Yep. I mean, again, using quite a bit for SK. Exakick also taking a bit of damage, but Spear's going in onto the Dragon, teleport committed. Here comes Isma. That ulti big as well in the backline for SK. In a bit of trouble, it's Exakick first to go. That's their big damage source, but that 3-man knockup could turn the fate. Nisqy runs on in, but can't get the finishing touch onto Supa as Mrywn sends them away. They get a bit of space from SK as 2 have dropped. 2 on the side of MDK as well. It's an even trade with Dragon actually going over to Mad as the plus sign.
What a chaotic fight. There was so much happening, it was hard to keep track of everything. Supa getting away just barely with his life, but this engage from Mad Lions Koi was good. Notice that the second Isma jumps over the wall, Elyoya goes in along with the Gragas ultimate coming out from Fresskiowy, shutting down Exakick as quickly as possible. While he is able to revive for a little while, it doesn't amount to much, as both the divers of Irrelevant and Nisqy tried to dive onto Supa. That's the power of Poppy. We saw the steadfast presence doing a huge amount of work to mitigate the dive threat from both of them, keeping Supa alive long enough to actually disengage from the fight. Wow, I'm hoping we get more chaotic fights like this, because you're seeing how much value this Poppy can provide.
Even in the damage department, he contributed a massive amount as well. I mean, Mrywn, absolute insanity. No wonder this guy is 9-0 in his career on this pick. Already picked up the Sunfire Cape. He's able to deny Nisqy from getting the final bit of damage onto Supa. And Mad here claw their way back, stopping the Dragon stacking as well. So early game is contributing quite a lot here as we go into mid. And just sit for the time being. SK looking for a bit of a pick onto Supa, but he's not stepping forward as Mrywn is just cuddling these guys for the time being, making sure SK can't do a thing.
That bot wave has been completely abandoned. The Herald is now going to be started off for SK, which is why they brought so many members up. Irrelevant with no TP. Mrywn has found DOS, getting a bit of chip damage onto him, and notice how Irrelevant's being completely zoned away. This gives Mad Lions an opportunity for collapse as Nisqy fights Fresskiowy.
Zoning it on the top side, Nisqy still does a lot of damage through here, but for SK, is it enough to buy them time and turn onto Mad, who are moving towards the Herald at 2.5k? It's secured over to SK, but
Supa.
Irrelevant on the backside. Supa runs into him, and there's so much damage coming through, but Irrelevant can't finish the job. Isma tries to get in range, they turn for Elyoya, and they might have just found their fight. Nisqy cleaves it up, and SK, with a quick two-piece feed, lock it down.
I love the aggression that we're seeing from both teams, but that was too much from Supa. No summoner spells. He walked himself into melee range of that Renekton, and even though Alvaro was there to offer that support, it was not enough. Notice the dive that comes through from SK. When that Poppy isn't there to protect, there isn't that much protection. You'll see immediately Supa getting too close to that brush. He ends up losing over half his HP, and then watch Nisqy uses Elyoya to create the space in order to close the gap, and Mrywn isn't there to provide that peel. A big overstep from Mad Lions Koi means that SK find the punish, and now they have a very solid gold lead here as we enter the mid-game.
I mean, across the board, again, it's huge. A quick tidbit, of course, you're looking forward to the next matchup, which is Match of the Week in G2 Esports and Kameen Corp. That's going to be a big one. Don't forget, this one here leads to a 2-win start in Winter as well. We'll put them on top of the board.
Bear in mind, when we look back at previous splits from last year, 4 was pretty much enough to get you into
half the way there, yeah.
And 3 was the contentious one. 3 is normally where you're fighting, but to be able to get these wins early on gives you a lot more freedom as you move later on into the regular season. Only 3 weeks long, a lot of pressure on these players to adapt as quickly as possible. But I love the competitiveness that we're seeing from both sides. When we think about expectations coming into the season, this was supposed to be a bottom of the table fight between these two teams. But right now they're both sitting at 1-0, and they're both poised to take a very important game. SK extending their gold lead as they secure the first tower of the game.
I mean, they're also picking up their first items of the game as well. Previous fight that was picked up. Herald also picked up in the previous fight, which means someone can go for a bit of a joyride. There's Mad Koi trying to defend, but Isma's like, no way, man. I want to ram this in. Pops on out, gets a bit of damage down. But Mad still able to defend to keep the game going at least a little bit longer in mid.
Nisqy moving from top lane into mid. Is a little bit behind in XP against Fresskiowy. He's mainly just been sitting in a side lane for most of the game. Doing a really good job of keeping up with the farm. Nisqy saw an opportunity in the mid lane, but it's not going to pan out. He's now making his way towards top. I don't know if he can kill Mrywn here. Let's find out.
Great question. I mean, again, with only the Riftmaker available, you might be right, Vedius, but wait for that shuriken to hit.
He cannot.
Okay. Doesn't want to take it.
Tanks are tankier on this patch.
That's very true.
They are very difficult to kill.
And there's a lot more MR options as well.
Way more. I love the extra MR options that we're now seeing in the game. But it does mean that for some of these assassins, they don't have as much threat as they used to. But once those things like the Void Staff starts coming through, then you'll definitely start to see some more lethality, I should say. Which not to be confused with actual lethality. I'm talking about the kill threat.
The kill threat one, yeah, okay. Again, that's like you saying, what's that item that starts with O called? Opportunity.
Opportunity.
There's more opportunity in the game, but not literally
you
the
know
item.
my brain immediately went Omewrecker. Hang on.
Whoa, Titanic is strong. Who knew?
Oh.
Titanic is strong. And Elyoya shows us how it's done.
That felt personal. He flashed in onto Nisqy. Nisqy thought he was safe. He knew he was on the weak side. He was playing defensively, trying to secure the Krogs for himself. But Elyoya, he saw something that we did not, and he was very quick to kill his former teammate.
The rivalry shown on screen. The trade-off is mid-turret going down though for SK. So while the kill follows suit, at the very least, Mad are going to look for a little bit more. Tier 2 in the top side is getting punished hard. You can see Vedius, I mean, SK are moving up to try and stop this push coming in, but Isma's by himself for the time being. You mentioned it, teleport coming through, so Nisqy's angle's there with ulti and level 11. Flash also available. Isma trying to buy time, but it's 3 members of Mad. Elyoya is still doing a lot of damage. Exakick now flying through, but that 3-man Magna Storm buys him so much time. Nisqy running in, wait for that shuriken flip onto Supa, but he doesn't take it. Instead gets execution. Here's Mrywn, he goes golden as the flip out. Means that they've got no members left remaining, but Nisqy's still alive. You can see this man is still alive as DOS flash ulties, gets 2 members. Nisqy jumps back in. How are SK members still alive? Mad under their SK getting thwarted as Irrelevant flashes in as well. This team is crazy.
SK ace Mad Lions Koi just short of 20 minutes into the game, and SK are going to quickly convert this into the Baron. I think they just might. Elyoya will be alive. The HP is very low, but on spawn they're going to go straight for it. What a turnaround from SK to blow this game wide open.
And again, another big talk point about Kalista, I'm sure is going to come through, but SK surprising us all. A 3k gold lead, a Baron that'll elevate it even further. And you know, the Mad Lions fans came out to play. I hope that one guy who was here yesterday for SK is shouting louder, because they deserve it after we watch back.
Remember,
this
started with a dive onto Nisqy and the tier 2 being secured in top lane. Isma sees an opportunity. Nisqy goes the long way around, which he quickly has to pivot from, but this engage from Isma is great. Lands on all three members, gets a huge ultimate off. Nisqy's able to do huge damage to the backline. Then Exakick makes his way into the fight. He chips away, combines the damage from both the Akali and the Kalista to get that initial kill. Then look at this. The shielding is going to come out to keep Nisqy alive from DOS. Then Irrelevant joins the fight as well to get the kill onto Fresskiowy. And it's just a chase down. Nisqy playing at the very edge as Mad Lions Koi fall short, and they only get a single kill back.
And I think we can say SK's comp is really good at following up and chasing. I mean, this team just never says die. And with the champions available to them, they keep chasing them down, they find the kills, and they push themselves.
Damage. Considering how low Nisqy was pretty much in that entire fight.
4.5k just about.
And this is, you know, he wanted to prove that he can be a big carry for his team, and he's doing just that. His scoreline doesn't necessarily reflect it, but his impact in the fights is definitely felt.
I mean, we've seen him play aggressive in that laning phase all game long. I think more importantly as well, we're seeing another great game out of Isma too, as the engage tool, the pivotal piece here from SK. Irrelevant has just impressed me so far, as a lot of people talked about him being one of the most underrated players last year. One of the most underrated top laners, at least, to say something. Irrelevant, definitely not his namesake, either in this game, as he picks up his second item in the Randuins. Now for SK with the Baron. Look at this multi-lane setup. Vedius, Nisqy pushing through mid, SK hovering in fog of war, threatening a potential dive. They're just trying to get themselves some turrets so they pull up more of a gold lead and make this insurmountable for MDK.
Pressure is being put down onto MDK's jungle. SK are doing a good job of kind of moving between top and mid. They're going to need to start hitting these towers though, but they're still cautious of Mrywn. He goes in, he's just...
Interesting, okay, but stops Exakick at the very least. Ulti comes out from DOS as well. That stops the backline. Mrywn almost dies over, bops away. Big core damage of SK. But Mad Koi need to find themselves some follow-up. Isma is not going to take the brunt of the damage. And look, Nisqy didn't join this whole time. They commit for the fight, and he's just taking away turrets with his combo deal of Baron and Baron's granddaughters and grandsons in the Void Grubs, helping push fast turrets.
SK end up getting an objective. They will make the Baron work, and now they need to reset. Dragon spawning in about 30 seconds. Gold needs to be spent. What are we going to see come out? There's the fully completed Zhonya's for Nisqy.
Yep.
Choosing to go for that second. And while there are 2 items available on Lucian, it's 3 completed now for Exakick.
We hit Terminus.
We did hit Terminus. For a long time, I kept forgetting the name of this, but now I just remember the Terminator. And I feel that Exakick is ready to assassinate as we enter the next fight.
I think of that cringy song from 2001, you know, We Hit Turbulence.
I don't remember that song, no.
Okay, you're old, come on. We just talked about this. You remember A Bug's Life?
Yeah, but what I remember is S Club 7, okay?
That's that's still goated, that's still goated. Everyone else understand what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with this item, ladies and gentlemen, you get armor MR on, I'm not sure if that's light or dark, armor and MR. Penetration.
Dark is penetration, light is armor.
There you go. So defensive item that also has on hit that gives attack speed. And with Winsus, it is such a good combo. I mean, these 3 items in the game right now, no wonder Kalista is making big presence known. They are beautiful to watch. I will say in game state, SK picked up their dragon that's leading them to Dragon Soul. It's only a Chemtech Soul, but still, it shows how much control of this game that they're in. 5,000 up as well. We had some back and forth early game yet again, but that solidifying fight topside, the Baron has kind of put them in a lead that feels hard to come back from, Vedius, although not impossible with how we know game states these days. But still, you know, that item advantage you talk about makes it hard for this upcoming fight that you'd expect around next Dragon or maybe Baron in 145.
Yeah, Baron is likely to be the next point of conflict. Yeah, and I'm seeing pings come down from SK. They have their eyes on Mrywn. I don't think they'll get much, though.
No.
And Myrwn's going to hand them off. Quick thumbs up as the teams choose to disengage. Is this tower going to drop? Yes, it is.
Objective bounty as well, so worth noting, bit of extra gold here for MadKoi to play with.
But what an impressive start to the season from SK. I will say that the way that they've built their advantage this game kind of came from opportunity rather than I would necessarily say from like very clean, incredible macro.
Sure.
You know, they managed to punish what was effectively an overextension in the top side from Mad. But I think being able to find those windows is really important, and I'm hoping afterwards we can hit team comms and see where the communication came from. But this is the type of quality that you often see from Nisqy. He's that guy that will often make those calls and lead the team towards, I think we can punish this, I think we can go for this play. But it's exciting to see what the potential this roster can have and where they can still go. Of course, as you already said, Mad Lions Core not out of this game just yet, but it's definitely SK in the driver's seat.
And I think if we're talking about opportunity for SK, I mean, that's how they won yesterday against Rogue. You know, punishing Larson with his misstep mid, Isma in the right place at the right time consistently. You know, bot side as well, playing really well in the team fights. You mentioned DOS on the Bard. Missed a bit of Qs, but also some great ultis that came through. I think what we see is that SK are great at punishing some of these weaker teams that don't have the clean macro, don't have the clean gameplay mechanics. Let's just throw more League of Legends terminology in there. And at least for now, we know that SK are great at punishing teams like that. As MDK look like one of them, but for now, we're waiting for that Baron to spawn, the worm coming through the river.
So what I'm expecting to see is they need to push another wave in mid, make sure they have that control. There's room for them to catch another wave in top as well, but Nisqy's going to basically act as a bodyguard. It's Exakick that you really need to threaten onto the Baron, but instead SK have said, you know what, we see you pathing towards top, we're going to abandon that and threaten mid instead. MDK going to threaten the Baron.
The game might end. Matt, you might have to get back. The game might end. Irrelevant is coming through. He's like, yep, they're there on the purple worm. It's not going down that fast. Nisqy positioning for the teleport, and they're like, okay, we're not going to threaten the end. Instead, we turn for the fight.
Fresskiowy doesn't really have anywhere to go.
Not at all. I mean, he won't be involved if they just turn for the fight. Nisqy's damage at this point is huge, as we talked about before. But what does the play end up being? I mean, Fresskiowy now in an opportune angle. If he pulls the trigger, Myrwn's going to be the first one there. This is janky as Isma runs on in. It's a great engage, though. And from DOS as well, that ulti. Absolutely gorgeous. Irrelevant jumps on in with a flash. Nisqy is still alive. This guy is James Bond. He never says die as he runs on in for a double. Nesquik, you are a beautiful drink.
SK are going to continue to clean up the fight. That's another ace. They'll give their mid lane over as sacrifice. But SK, just like that, are looking to end the game.
I mean, again, watching this team fight has been exceptional. And man looked great yesterday, but overcome by SK, who seemed like they're on the train. I was looking before, I'm saying, who's getting on the Mad train? I feel like the train's going the other way. It's SK today.
We're not talking about him, but Exakick 8-1-5. The kind of silent carry in this whole fight is irrelevant. And Nisqy are on the front lines. It is him on the back line cleaning up and dealing this damage. And it's going to be enough to bring him the win.
Well, at least with the spawn timers coming up, we have to question a little bit more, don't we? Super in 3 seconds. Nexus turrets are going down. SK fighting to hit down this Nexus, but Mad are back up. Elyoya going to be the first to die in this little grudge matchup. They don't have enough damage to get the Nexus. Too many members of Mad stand there, but
look
they're
at the
looking
stacks.
for the Rand. You're right, Exakick bopping away. Mrywn saves the game, saves his life. They will hold the defense for now.
They know Dragon spawning in 35 seconds. They need to get these resets off. Nisqy will make his way back out onto the map. Actually, he might have their eyes on Baron. They know that with Elyoya dead, this is a very big window for them to just secure this objective. But it feels like Exakick have this massive wall that he can just continue to play around.
True.
There is not, like, when you have a Renekton and an Akali and a Rel all diving on top of you, they're your immediate concern, which just allows Exakick to free hit away. We thought this Poppy was going to be a problem, but Poppy doesn't know which problem to deal with.
And the problem is, as soon as you get close, if you get past all that Vedius, then you have a Renata who presses ult, who presses handshake. There are so many tools, as you mentioned, to keep Exakick safe as the second Baron goes over to SK. And this feels like it'll be the finishing blow. We go to 10k. And at least Soul's denied, yes, but the Nexus is bare bones right now. And we have a Jack show on Exakick, so let's add to that.
Oh, okay. So shout out to Medic for teaching me about this tech.
Good
But basically the idea is that Jack Show empowers your bonus armor and magic resistance. So when you build the armor and magic resistance through Terminus, the Jack Show then furthers empower it. So it's a good late game item to just basically make your Kalista that much tankier. So you thought Poppy was hard to kill. Well, now you've got a super mobile AD carry that's also just got a bunch of defensive stats.
Very smart. Medic should go pro. I mean, 24k already damaged, and you're right, going to be more unkillable. SK putting the nail in this coffin right now. To start off 2-0, a lot of people wouldn't be saying it's going to be SK for sure. But here they stand looking for top side to bruise it on in. Nisqy is threatening mid. It's an open season on the Nexus. And with Baron pushing through, it's a final thoughts for Mad Koi.
Nisqy doing what he can to create this pressure. SK has said, you know what, there's an open Nexus. Screw top lane, let's just keep pushing in mids.
Why not? Fight it out with this Akali, 4-4 and 7. Doesn't need the Rabadons to end the game.
There's Isma. They've got to be careful of Mrywn though.
Handshake though, they're doing a lot of damage.
Exakick
is outside, you're right. Look at him go. Exakick is just fighting away. The steadfast meant nothing. Vedius Nisqy deals with Elyoya on the side. The grudge is real. Nisqy shows him what's up as Fresskiowy is just there to say hello. Nexus now going to be battered down, and SK are looking mighty fine with their 2-0 start in winter.
A commanding stomp from SK. Look at some of these scorelines. 1-1-18 from Isma, 1-0-18 from DOS, 11-1-6 from Exakick. Really, it was only Nisqy that was dying, but to his credit, he was dying for his team. He was doing so much work in the fights. An incredible performance for SK, and if you weren't excited for this team before, you need to be excited now.
You do indeed, that 2-0 start, but ladies and gentlemen, key player of the game, you can go vote at LEC on X. Is it irrelevant, Nisqy or Exakick? I vote Nisqy. I don't know.
You've
That's
got a
hard.
lot of options. It's a difficult one for sure. This team has come up in impressive fashion, and I'm excited to see what they can do.
Man, it is an insane start for them. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a break. When we're back, we're talking with KC's owner, Alvaro, and the Analyst desk with the audience afterwards.
Welcome everyone to the Kia Tilt-Proof Challenge. We're here to see if 4 gamers can stand up to the test.
Well, this...
Ah!
Ah, gas.
Dios mío de mi vida.
I think I lost.
I'm so happy that I didn't eat before.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Oh.